Hi, folks. Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is the 19th of March. Tonight at 11:50 p.m. on the east coast of the U.S., and tomorrow in points west of that, we will be having the equinox. The equinox is a time when light and dark, where night and day are equal, and it is simply a moment. And so at 11:50 p.m. tonight, if you happen to be on the East Coast or in the Eastern time zone, you can take an egg and you can put it on your hand and it will balance. Um, if I'm awake and it's the video, I can do a video, I will. No promises though, because generally I'm to sleep by 10. And so it is the equinox, and so I thought I would do a chart. I mean, chart, excuse me. I thought I look. If you saw my daily today, the chart was up for Washington. Um, but I thought I'd do a reading for the equinox. What do we need to be aware of? Now, generally, there are two equinoxes. There's the one in March, and then there's the one in um, September. Depending on what part of the globe you're on, depends on whether it's autumnal or vernal. Here in the northern hemisphere, it is the first day of spring. In the southern hemisphere, it's the first day of fall. And then in September, it's the opposite. It's the first day of fall for us and the first day of spring for the southern hemisphere. And then we have the solstices. And the solstices are when the sun, solstice means sun standing still. And it's the highest declination, northern declination, and lowest, I believe. Here in the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice is the longest day, and the winter solstice is the longest night. And so there is this energy of light and dark, but at the equinoxes, the light and dark are equal. And so we are here at this time all over the world attempting to find some balance in our lives. And in most places in the world, um, I don't know if we could really even imagine balance, but it is what we need to aspire to, and so we will do that. But let's see what the cards have to say. And I think that this reading will go from the this equinox until till the solstice in June. And there's actually an eclipse right around the solstice. I don't know if it's on the day of the solstice or the next day. Um, so the solstice is very powerful. And anytime something crosses over into Aries, it's a powerful time because Aries is the beginning of the zodiac, of the natural tropical zodiac. And it is considered sort of a world point. And so here we stand at the precipice of, to a certain extent, a whole new world. And we certainly can feel that happening. So, and really, quite frankly, where we're at right now in this country and all over the world is we're at a standstill. We're about as much of a standstill as I've ever known in my life. And I'm going to be 59 this year in July. So, that's kind of a long time. And yeah, so let's see. All right, so this is for today until the summer solstice, which I believe, hold on, I'll tell you because I have my calendar right here. I'll tell you when that exactly is. I know I just licked my finger, but don't worry. I haven't been out and nobody's been around here. Okay. Oh, looking at the wrong. No wonder I couldn't find it. Okay, so, all right. So the summer solstice is the 20th of June, and the next day we have the new moon solar eclipse. So just because I mentioned it. Okay, let's see what we have here. All right, so the first card we get is the strength card. And so this is about being strong, yes. This is about seeking balance. Here, let me pull this up. I happen to have this right here. So on the tree of life, which I just happen to have here, and this is the tree of life with the associated chakras. I sort of got into a color mood. The strength card um, is on this path right here between Gebura, the fifth of the Sephira, and Hesed, the fourth of the Sephira. And it is connected, interestingly enough, to Mars and Jupiter. And tomorrow, Mars and Jupiter make a conjunction at 23 degrees of Capricorn. And what's interesting about 23 degrees of Capricorn is it is the same degree that that Saturn and Pluto made their conjunction at the beginning of the year. The Saturn Pluto conjunction that everybody was talking about, 30 plus years. The last time it had come together was in 1982 at about, I think it was 28 degrees of Libra. This time it happened at 23 degrees of uh, Capricorn. And this conjunction of Mars and Jupiter happen at that degree, and that's happening tomorrow. So that's sort of a significant thing. And then Mars will be making a conjunction to Pluto. And then at the end of the month, Mars will be making a conjunction to Saturn. But Saturn at that point would have just moved into Aquarius. So again, that sort of uh, important aspect occurring the very beginning of the degree of Aquarius. And conjunctions are always starting points. So we are really in a time, an unprecedented time, where this is the time where we have to make a change. We have to make a shift, and it is survival. So this, according to this card, the first card that comes up is activating this path, the path of strength. And the symbol for that is Teth. I might be saying that wrong, but it's serpent. It's Hebrew for serpent. And it's located in the throat chakra. The throat chakra is being able to speak your truth. It is finding your voice. And so we will be required to find our voice. But it's also the chakra where we step aside and allow spirit to speak through us. It's where we become vessels of higher forces. And those higher forces are higher spiritual forces that are connected to us. It's just that the us that we know here now is sort of much more contained and small compared to that connection that we have to the greater whole and to our own spiritual, um, in this case, higher mind. So we have the strength card, and so this requires us to do all of those things. And incidentally, one of the first symptoms, as I understand it, of the virus that we're COVID-19 is sore throat and then lung stuff. So, all right, let's see what's crossing the strength card. The chariot card. Okay, so the chariot card is, well, first of all, it's Cancer card. It's associated with the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is about nurturance. Cancer is the sign where we all of us incarnate through Cancer, because Cancer is symbolic of the mother. And in other decks, the chariot is a charioteer with two either horses or sphinxes. and he's in armor. And some decks have him holding the reins. The Rider-Waite deck does not have him holding the reins, but it is symbolic of the soul taking on or getting on the road to its incarnation to express itself in the physical world. So this is the soul's journey. This is the soul incarnating. And this as a challenge is about taking up the soul's work. Like we are being challenged to experience our soul's journey. And the soul's journey is an emotional one. And the soul's journey is very much the energy of being willing to get out of your comfort zone. And, I'm a Cancer. I know a lot of Cancers. We don't like getting out of our comfort zone. The only time we generally do is if somebody's threatening somebody we love. In this case, something is threatening our very life because Cancer is that energy, right, of life. It's to the beginning of life. So we're being asked to be strong, and yet we have this challenge to life and also a challenge to movement. So we're being asked to be strong and stay put, which we have, very few people, even in underdeveloped countries, stay put. I mean, we're always moving. Movement is life, right? But we're being forced to sort of like sit with it and experience it and still move forward on our soul's journey. Let's see what's at the root. Sorry, I'm going to lick my fingers and freak you guys out. Okay, so at the root of this is the Ace of Pentacles. Can you see that? Well, it's the Ace of Pentacles. I don't know if you can actually read it. It doesn't look like you can see it. I'm trying to get the right light here. There we go. Maybe you can see that. And in this deck, the Ace of Pentacles is this tree with all the rings, the layers. Aces are always about new beginnings. And Pentacles is physicality. And so this is a new beginning, a new way. It's also money. The Pentacles are money. So it's like we're being asked to reset the way we live, our economy, and the there's an energy of time here, not always generally in the Ace of Pentacles, but in this particular one, because we have the rings of the tree here, and the tree has the story of our life. The tree has a story of our lives. You can look at the rings of a tree and find out when there was, it was a better season, or when it was a bad season for trees. They have looked at trees that at the time old enough that were around when Krakatoa went off, and there were actually, and I think that was around the time of the Dark Ages as well, or I think it was Krakatoa in the Dark Ages. But they think that the Dark Ages were actually dark because there was so much sort of soot in the air that there wasn't a lot of light coming through. And the trees didn't do as well because, of course, trees grow with photosynthesis, right? So this is an energy at the root of this is a new beginning, a new relationship with our money, a new relationship with our planet. Let's see what's in the past. Okay, we have the Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles talks about fair distribution of resources. Fair distribution of resources. It's also it's located in Tiphereth on the Tree of Life. And Tiphereth is right at the center of the tree. Tiphereth means beauty. And it is associated with the sun. Okay, the sun. And it is associated with the heart chakra. And so this fair distribution of resources needs to come from a sense of responsibility towards others. And it's sitting in the past. Let's see what's in the sky. Okay, we have the Son of Swords here, or this could be the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is generally an energy that reacts to things and rushes into things without thinking about the consequences of their actions. It's called unintended consequence. I was watching a show on PBS, and I wish I remembered the name of it, but it was about networks and how networks develop and what happens when the network expands, and then there's this natural tendency to do this. It's as if the groups of people like separate out, and every time there's been like an increase in conductivity or networking, there's been some sort of war, right? There's been some sort of war. When the printing press was developed, there was a war. When the telegraph was developed, there was war. When the television was developed, there was war. So anytime we've had these like expansions, because people have their sort of points of view. Well, now we have the internet and it's worldwide. But we can't really go to war with each other, can we? I mean, we could. I mean, we're at war, but you can't. I mean, what are we going to do? We're just going to like fight till nobody's left. And so there's still a war. And ultimately, we're brought back to center, right? Ultimately, once we get used to this sort of new world order, and I don't use that expression when it, in the George Senior sense. I'm talking about the metaphysical sense. Um, Whenever you evolve, you move through a layer of what is known to what is unknown. And when you're in that unknown space, it's chaotic. And we have to come and be familiar with that unknown space. And as we rise up in that space, we see more and more, we have more and more understanding, more and more until we hit the next level. And this is how we have these sort of evolutionary like jumps. But at that time, things can be very hectic, things can be very unsettled. That crisis opportunity thing that the Chinese talk about. Um, that's where we're at. We're at the edge of evolution, and we have to evolve. We have to evolve to a new understanding. Okay. So what's going on right now in the sky is, in the sky, as far as like not in the sky, but in this reading is a certain amount of chaos, because people are acting, but they're not really sure what's going to happen. So be aware of that. Be aware that out there is very chaotic. Let's see what's in the immediate future. Okay, so in the immediate future, we have the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is an energy of knowing. It's an energy of being still and staying silent. It is an energy where we connect with our psychic sensibilities. The High Priestess on the Tree of Life sits on this path, okay? On this path. This is associated with the Hebrew letter Gimel. I might be saying it wrong, Gimel, which means camel. And you know that expression in the Bible, it is easier for a poor man to get to heaven than a rich man, than a rich man. Wait, how does it go? Obviously, I was raised Catholic and I don't know my Bible. It's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle. That's this. That's this. And this is the path from the heart to the crown. So this is direct connection with spirit here. Okay? And that's what's being required. What's being required is direct connection to spirit. right up the center of the path, right up the center of the tree, which is the moment, in the moment. We're in the moment now. And we must connect our heart with our crowns at this moment. Okay? Let's kind of do that. Just sit, take a deep breath. Just align yourself. Maybe you want to take your hand off your head, put it above your head, and connect your hands, the energy of your hands. And so perhaps when you're feeling anxious or you're feeling like, I can't take another moment of this, find us a quiet place, sit and breathe. You know, the coronavirus is a respiratory thing, and life is breath. And in a little while, in May, the North Node will be moving into Gemini. Gemini is associated with the lungs and the hands, hand washing, right? And grief. And so we are healing. This is a process of healing. Okay. Let's see how this is seen from the outside. I don't know what's outside of the world, but we can imagine that there are some alien beings watching all of this from afar. All right, we have the Father of Swords. The Father of Swords. The Father of Swords is an energy of order. It's an energy of truth. Hopefully, the Father of Swords is an upstanding and upright person. And so this says to me that, I don't know, who's ever watching us wants us to be just that, upright, righteous in the best way. Domestic situation. Oh, we have the Mother of Swords. Now, the Mother of Swords is an energy. Now, she has her sword and she's sort of sitting on the hilt of the sword, and the sword is pointing to the ground. I feel like the Mother of Swords is asking us to ground ourselves, to not get caught up in the in this, right? In the chaos. The Mother of Swords, or the Queen of Swords, is somebody who is very wise and uses good judgment. And part of that is because she has been through much suffering. In the Tree of Life, the Mother of Swords, or the Queen of Swords, is located in Vina, which is right here, the Divine Feminine. We need to connect with the earth. We need to become still. It is actually continues to be all of these, except for what's going on in the upper sky there. It all seems to be very, very sort of very aligned, right? We have the we have the Strength card, which asks us to be strong, right? It asks us to, I'm trying to pull these up without messing up my video here. Balance, right? There's the infinity symbol there. Okay. The Ace of Pentacles, a single one, right? The High Priestess, the path right up the center of the tree. So this is all about staying aligned, spirit to heart to body, okay? And not get pulled into the extremes. This is Hopes and Fears. And we have the Daughter of Wands. So this is a hope for life. We have the Daughter of Wands. This would be, this would also be the Page of Wands. And so we're hoping for good news. We're hoping for good news. Let's see the outcome. Okay. The Hanged Man. Now, we just spent all of 2019 in the Hanged Man energy. And we know what it's like to have to sit by and watch everything happen. And those things that we have no control over, we had to let go of. And those things that we could affect, we actually had to do that. And then, of course, have the wisdom to know the difference. But the Hanged Man is also a card that talks to us about cosmic consciousness and being connected to that. And so we will move through this period of time, but we need to stay connected to source. We need to stay connected to those higher spiritual energies. And we will be informed on just how to sort of build this new world order. The information is there and it will come to us. And we are being forced to sit still. And maybe that's the greatest gift of this virus, is that we are forced to stay still. But it's not something we're used to. And it's going to be challenging for most people. So, and what's underneath it? I get the two of swords here. And what's interesting about this two of swords card, excuse me, is there's an eclipse. And this reading is for now the equinox to the solstice. And then the day after the solstice, we have an eclipse. So we know that there's a new opening at that point. And then we also have here the two of wands. Okay, so we have the two twos here. This one is talks about being at a crossroads or being at a stalemate, and this one is a little different. This is more active. This is about working together. This energy. This is about working together. The next card underneath is the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is always about choices, too many choices, illusions and delusions, deluding ourselves. It's often the card associated with Donald Trump when I do readings on him. The guy can't decide, smoke and mirrors. So that energy will still be around come the solstice, but we'll be wiser and we'll be more connected, and we're being forced to sit still. So utilize that energy as best you can. Utilize that energy as best you can. We have an opportunity. This is a golden opportunity, even though it doesn't feel that way, to really figure out what's important in our lives, to really figure out how we're going to move forward at this time. I would dare say that what we think is going to happen, what we think is the progression of this year, is being turned on its head. This is a Neptune card. This is a Neptune card. Neptune is very active, and Neptune is the planet that is associated with pandemics. So it is a spiritual vibration, reminding us that we are all one. And that one thing that, in a way, this pandemic is the great equalizer. Although it's for sure people who are poor will probably suffer more because they can't get the medical help or such. But just because you have money and the best medical care and everything lined up for you does not guarantee survival here. And so it is, on a certain level, the great equalizer. But it is, again, an opportunity for us to recreate the world that we're in. And I have been talking about recreating the world that we're in since, I don't know, a while. Certainly since the beginning of this year, and previous to that, talking about this year. 2020 is a 4 vibration. It is about us. It's a building vibration. And it is up to us how we're going to rebuild from this place. I would suggest connected. I would suggest in love and compassion and practicality, taking responsibility for ourselves and taking responsibility for the responsibility we have to others. Being better people, better citizens of the world, of the country you're in, of the community that you're in, being a better family person, whatever that means to you, and being more authentic to what's in your heart. And if you don't know what's in your heart, this is the time to look there. We're being given the opportunity. Sometimes we do and do and do and do, and we don't necessarily remember or think to look at what's in here. Look at what's in here. Do you have pain? Are you suffering? Do you feel a lack? Do you feel an overabundance? What is it that you feel here? And then see what you need to do about it. All right, guys. Well, I hope this is helpful. It's certainly helped me because I was in a little bit of a crabapple mood before I started this for reasons that I have no control over, right? I guess this reading was for me. All right, guys. See you soon. Love to all you. Stay safe. Follow the directions. This is on many levels for our own good. And while I'm not one to accept everything that is told to me, just can't do it. It's good to question. It's good to question. It's good to question authority. But the best authority is that which is within your heart. So remember, heart and head, and connect those. Whenever you feel like you're getting overwhelmed by this, just see you soon. Take care. Bye.